Grand Theft Auto 5 review?
Yeah, I'm still working on that one.
How are we gonna put on like these sideways hats, get these little fake plastic guns, and go? Well, I'm going to hunt some whatever the hell it is. Got $20 in
the
my
bag. I don't know
I
how
don't know
that
what
would.
it's called.
I don't even know how that would be relevant to Grand Theft Auto at all.
I figured it would be like Saints Row 4. I put on that purple shirt, poorly attempted to fit to blend in with the Saints Row theme of purple.
I don't get how any of this has to do with it. Oh.
Did you know the game was on?
Well, anyway. Welcome to another episode of It's Those Guys Game Reviews. I am Wonder Nick! And this is...
Yeah, I don't think so.
You're not gonna...
No.
But
I told you I wasn't gonna do that.
You were supposed to...
No.
Wow, that was hours of rehearsal well spent. Welcome to another episode of It's Those Guys Game Reviews. And today we're reviewing... the wonderful 101 for the Nintendo Wii U. The extra person is you.
Which is a really corny idea for a theme, but ignore what I said.
Well, it's back in the older days of gaming when they, like, when you beat the game, it would say special thanks and all these people, and the last person would be, and you.
I thought they still did. Oh, no, they don't.
So
no, they don't have credit for it. All they do is just show the development teams for every other country.
Yeah, they don't thank you for playing the game anymore. They
just let you know who developed the game in countries like Poland and Russia. Who cares?
Yeah, stuff like that. And it never says, and thanks for playing or anything like that. Fuck you, ungrateful games. We spend our money on you. And it's not the game's fault, it's the developer's fault. We spend our hard-earned money on you, and you can't even thank us for playing, beating, and...
No, the idea they go with is, thank you for playing a game. Now buy some DLC. That's their thank you.
And they still don't thank you for it. Shit. Anyway, we're doing a game review, right?
The story begins as the alien force known as the Gaith Jerk, which actually stands for something, invade Earth. This forces the vast group of various stereotypes called the Wonderful 100 to join forces and fight off the alien invasion. Oh look, another game that has an alien invasion. First it was zombies, now it's aliens.
I don't remember the last game where we actually fought an alien invasion.
Saints Row 4.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gameplay sounds simple. You control a group of heroes that gets larger as you play, either by controlling other members of the 100, most of which seem to have absolutely no use at all and just seem to be there for decoration, and regular citizens as you save them from danger, some of which will be temporary members increasing your ranks.
My god, what the hell is that abomination?
It's a guy whose power is beer.
Well, wouldn't every man love to have that?
This guy needs his own game. Call it the Wonderful Beer Guy. I would play that game.
The more people you have in your team, the larger and more powerful your Unite forms will be. Unite forms are where you get your weapons. The weapon you use depends on your team leader, which you can choose depending on which shape you use the control pad to form.
For example, a circle will cause a team leader Wonder Red, whose weapon of choice is Giant Fist. These Unite form weapons are your main form of attack. They can also be used for many other uses, such as turning giant knobs or using Wonder Blue Sword as a giant key. You can also do group attacks where the entire team lunges towards enemies and swarms them. By the way, I really, really, really hate those fucking giant mechanical turtles.
This may all seem chaotic and hard to do at first, but as you play on, you'll learn a certain rhythm of what works and what doesn't.
The game itself is not easy, as there's definitely a challenge to it. Sure, the challenge might seem a bit diminished because you can pick up right where you left off if you die, but for those of you wanting that perfect score, you're going to have to go back a few steps. After all, this is a Kamiya game, and the guy just loves to punish you for using items and continuing a lot. Yeah. Oh, a sentient game. Ugh. This is a Kamiya game. He does this like all the time. He did it with the original Devil May Cry, did it with Bayonetta, and now he's doing Wonderful 101. Also, real quick question. What's with like all the nudity? Every time characters get like knocked back or your character dies, he's like sitting there like face down, ass up in his underwear. That's just kind of strange. The AI itself is pretty decent, if not borderline unfair sometimes. There are times when you're pretty sure you blocked or dodged an attack at times, only to look on in horror as your team gets attacked and scattered by a well-placed homing laser. Enemies can range from piss easy to holy shit, this is a huge pain in the ass at times. Some enemies can even require you to have a certain team leader and their weapons to defeat them. It can be annoying, but it's also very clever and really helps bring some thought in a fast-paced action game. Controls themselves are pretty decent. The attacks run pretty smoothly for the most part, but it's not without its hiccups. One of the bigger problems with it is when you're doing your Unite morphs, especially when you're in a hurry. It gets frustrating sometimes when you try to draw a giant hammer and you keep getting a whip. The game does, however, meld the game with the gamepad nearly perfectly. So yeah, really I think you should try playing the game with the gamepad on this one. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, a lot of people don't like it. I didn't think it'd be good at first, but I thought it went pretty well together. So take note, developers, it is possible to have a good game plus use the gamepad at the same time. Maybe if you want to put a little work into it. Yeah, like I said, it's not a perfect system, but I think this is one of the first games I played on this thing where the gamepad and the gameplay actually go pretty well together. Especially sometimes when like you go in a certain room and like the inside is on the gamepad and the outside is just there for decoration. It can get kind of annoying like sometimes, but at the same time it's also kind of neat to watch.
Where this game really shines is the boss battles. These are some of the most high-octane and fun boss battles I've ever seen. Sure, there are times where they can be just as frustrating as the rest of the game, but the constant action coupled with the epic fight music that plays along with it is amazing. It really gives that superheroes unite to fight a giant evil feel that we all love in our TV shows and movies.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let's go back and review that one scene one more time. The visuals are pretty astounding too. The game really does have a bright, colorful world that maintains itself very well even with all the action going on. Although it seems more time was spent on the overall world and not so much the character models. I have not seemed to have detected any type of slowdown or screen tearing during my playthrough. However, there are some parts where like when something gets close enough to the screen, it gets really blurred out and hard to see. It gets kind of muddy and blurry. So like I said, not perfect, but it's pretty good. For example, like if like you're in the foreground or whatever, you'll see like the little battery things you pick up. The battery is what like helps you do your moves. The longer your battery gauge, the more you can like do your super moves and stuff. And but when they're up to, it's like they're just like this blur on the screen. So some issues, but it's not really too distracting, and you can like dismiss it pretty quick because you're not really paying attention to that. You're paying more attention to what's going on the screen. The Wonderful 101 does indeed bring something new to the table. Despite some minor frustrations, the game can hold its own and is a pure action title. If you have a Wii U, you need to give this game a try as it's a refreshing experience that many have been asking for.
If you ask me, this game kind of reminds me of Beautiful Joe for whatever reason. For some strange reason, it feels like this. I look at the gameplay and it's all top-down 3D and stuff. And even though Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101 are two completely different games, I can't help but feel like they had the same art style to them.
I think it was the same guy who created Beautiful Joe originally, and yeah, the Wonder Red is definitely a guy who looks different. I mean, looks kind of close to Beautiful Joe, and or whatever. I thought it was a pretty decent game. I liked it, and it's not like won't be the longest game, but it's pretty fun, and it definitely has a lot of frustrating moments too. I'm not gonna lie. Some parts when I'm sitting there trying to fight, especially during some of the boss battles, it's like it feels like they kind of drag on longer than they should, and they seem to be able to do way more damage to you than you can do to them. So it's like I'm sitting there like beating the crap out of them, and it also seems like they can interrupt your moves, but you can't interrupt theirs. So I'm sitting there like beating on them, and they do one thing, and all of a sudden my guys are all scattered. Yet if I'm doing the same thing, like they're beating on me, I go to ahead and move. It just causes my characters to get scattered even more. It just seems like there's something unequal about that in the battle system.
It sounds like you sound like you just repeated your problems with Tales of Xillia.
I don't know. Maybe it's a problem that I don't know. Is it just me? It could possibly be that I just suck at the games. I don't know. I'm not going to discount that, but at the same time, it feels like in a lot of these games that interruptions can be caused more by the enemy than you yourself. And yeah, when I think of some other games that did this, I think like hell, Devil May Cry itself. I thought it did that a lot. I'm moving the shit out of something, it does one move and just totally like knocks me off. I'm like. But it doesn't seem to always work the other way, and it's like...
Yeah, I still managed to beat Devil May Cry 3 on very hard mode.
The only game you've ever played on something other more than wussy. I mean, easy, I'm sorry.
Well, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think every gamer in this world wants a heavy, challenging playthrough. I think some people just prefer to have a casual playthrough. You know, just go through it, have fun, and not have a reason to be elitist.
Yes. We call them Call of Duty fans. I'm kidding! I'm kidding! It's a joke. Please don't hate me for that. It's just a joke. I really have nothing against Call of Duty or something like that. It's not a game I personally play, but it's an alright game for those who like it. Don't get mad. Please, don't get mad. We're gonna have to move.
It's not like last year's title was better or anything.
So anyway, all that being said, the fun factor is definitely there. It's actually got some pretty decent voice acting. You think a game like this would have a lot of voice acting. There's good voice acting, good interaction with each other. And the more you play, there's actually some character development there. You wouldn't think you'd find that kind of thing in this game, but it's really there.
I can't believe they bother to go through character development in today's world.
There was character development. There was, good voice acting. There's you learn things about characters. There's funny moments. There's jokes. There's a lot of neat stuff in there along with the gameplay. It's pretty much it's a really good package if you put it all together. All that being said, I would go ahead and give this game an A-. It's definitely, so far, one of my favorite games on the Wii U. I know there really hasn't been a lot, but, so easier choice to choose from, I guess, but there you go. Your thoughts?
I give it a wonderful mushroom plus.
And it's not the rating scale.
It is now.
Could you just?
I give this game a C plus. Over a fairly decent game. Some of the boss battles and stuff are a little unfair, but if you can figure out how to maneuver your way through combat, you'll get the hang of it, and eventually you'll begin to have a fun time.
Anyway, this has been another episode of It's Those Guys Game Reviews. We'll do another episode of this when we feel like it. We'll see you next time.